right, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. This is our first, hopefully not the only, the first of many fine arts career panels. So this is for those of you who are FA majors who are thinking about transferring over to a 4-year degree program somewhere in the city or somewhere else in the country. We've got 3 former QCC alum who have gone on to greater things. And they're going to talk to you today a little bit about their experiences in moving into the world past QCC, moving into other academic degree programs, and talk about a little bit about their experiences. So, 3 QCC alums.
Hi, I'm George Buckman. I went to the school for 3 semesters in between 2008 and 2009. And I graduated from here, got my associate's degree in fine arts music. I transferred to Queen's College, and I am studying music education. I'm in instruments being saxophone and piano. I'm working. I have another year to graduate, and hopefully I plan on. I'm applying to a BAMA program, which is sort of like transferring to starting master's classes while I'm finishing my undergrad classes. So hopefully I can do that, and I can graduate from there in a few more years.
Hey, Timothy Chan. I was in this school for 2 years, but from 2008 to 2010. But I was doing it for only 2 semesters. So I changed my major actually after my first year here. And I'm currently in City College in their BFA program, and that's a higher degree you need to audition for. And it's really just take more extra music classes. And yeah, just nothing really special when I transferred. So.
I'm Vladimir Mont, you call me Vlad. I was here for basically 2 years, but only 3 semesters. And with me, I did kind of a little bit of like the electronic aspect that QCC offered, and also then moved on to more classical-oriented approach. And I ended up starting to play piano, and eventually transferred to Queen's College. And I actually spent a year in Queen's College and moved on to film composition and film production as of right now, which I study privately. And it's a little bit different than them two, but I feel like depending on what you want, there's really a lot of opportunity in a 4-year school, especially Queen's College. You can say a lot about the music program. That's something you're interested in.
George, because you guys were both at Queen's College, would you start by maybe talking about what the transfer procedure was like? What did you have to do to get into those? Were there entrance requirements and things like this?
Yeah, there's a placement exam, a written exam that you have to take that consists of, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, four different sections,
parts, yeah.
4 different parts that has to do with music theory, music history, counterpoint, and
It's theory, your training. They test your performance skills, like your instrument skills. It doesn't matter what instrument you play, they just want to see you play the instrument. And your training, both sight singing and dictation, and also your written theory skills, and some history / like music terms, things like texture, what is monophony, polyphony, things like that, And
yeah, they have 4 examples that they play within the test, like a Stravinsky example and Beethoven example. And you have to know sort of the backgrounds, a little bit of history. The Queen's College is very classical oriented. There's no undergrad jazz program for Queen's College. It's completely classical. They have 3 different programs. They have a general music, where you could just if you just enjoy music, you can take all the basic courses, follow the history program and follow a theory program, but you don't have to take any extra classes. It's then you have to take, then you could take a performance, be a performance major. And performance major, you take a lot of different performance classes. It pushes you to become an incredible performer. I mean, Queens College has wonderful musicians that graduate from that school. Or you could be a music education major, which is what I do, and you take a lot of education classes, a lot of classes to help you learn how to play different instruments, such as I learned how to play trombone and trumpet and violin last semester. I'm learning how to play cello and percussive instruments this semester, and it's, you know, they get you up to a NISMA level 4, which is pretty good, because in order to get into a college, you have to play a NISMA level 5 or 6 piece. So you get pretty good where you can almost get into certain colleges in these instruments. So it's very interesting. But as for getting into Queens College, you have to take a placement exam. You also have to perform two contrasting pieces on your instrument. So so if you play piano, you could play a Chopin piece, and then you could play a Mozart piece. You know, Mozart's very technical, and Chopin's from the Romantic period, so it's very, you know, emotional. So yeah, you can do 2 of those, and that's about it. You know, it's you have to plan ahead, because there are only certain times that you could take placement exams, certain dates. I know I took one in I think June, but you had a little bit of trouble, so you had to wait till the last one.
Yeah.
The last one, which is like a week before classes started, so you have to plan ahead for transferring and for taking these certain exams.
Well, how many people want to go to Queens College or planning on going to Queens College? Applying. Okay. And you're applying and you want to, that's like your first choice school?
It's actually applying my second choice.
Okay.
I was actually applying for city and applying for.
What kind of program are you interested in studying?
Mainly percussion.
Percussion. Is that like jazz percussion or percussion
Yeah,
like just orchestra type?
mostly jazz, but I've been interested in touching up on orchestral.
I'll tell you what, Queens College has a very, very good percussion program. Very, very good. Now it's not at the undergrad. It's not jazz. Graduate program, and I mean, you could go, the graduate program there is jazz, and it's an insane program. Their jazz program is wonderful. They have Mike Mossman and Antonio Hart. Antonio Hart just played for, who's a saxophonist, just played for the president of America and president of China 2 months ago. So I mean, he's insane. But for undergrad, the program is wonderful, and there are people that you just talk to and learn from, and I mean, every student, every semester, they just progress so much at Queens College, especially with percussion, because they have their own little hallway with their practice rooms, and all they do is just practice and do their work together and learn from each other. So it's a great program.
You know what? If you're interested in jazz, also, I can tell you that even though there's no official program in Queens College for undergrad, with the percussion department especially, they sort of sneak it into you. You know what I mean? It's not, you don't really sit there, you know, actually practicing like on a kit all the time, but there's a lot of performance. Like you were saying, Tony Hart, they do like maybe how many times a semester? Once or twice a semester they do like a concert.
Oh, I mean, you could put on a recital as many
like
times as long as you could book the any hall that you have. So
and they play like Latin jazz, they play all kinds of stuff like that. So you're still in it, even though you're not like officially, you know, recognized for it. Don't think that you'll be, you know, sitting there, you know, banging out like Bach preludes, which is, there's nothing wrong with Bach preludes, but you do get immersed into it, you know. So
you mentioned City College, Timothy. Do you want to talk about the process of moving from QCC to City College?
Yeah, actually, when I went to City College, I didn't. Actually, when I when I wanted to switch schools, I didn't really look into like which schools I wanted to go into. So I didn't look into their music program or anything. So when I got accepted to City College, I just went there, saw the chairman, and he really just asked me some small questions, like a bit from like history, a bit from theory, and then from there on, he'll know which class you really belong to. The thing is that when you go in there, the chairman is Dr. Jablonski, and he told me that every transfer student goes into City College as a BA student, Bachelor of Art, I believe, and so I didn't really ask him anything about audition process, but there are audition process, and all you do is just play two pieces actually, two pieces of anything you want, but it has to be in that style of play. So if you play jazz, you just play two jazz pieces. If you play classical, you play two classical pieces. And for that audition, if you make it, you go into the PFA. That's the program I'm in now. And the only difference is you just have more music classes.
So are you a performance major?
Yeah, I'm a classical pianist. I'm a performance major. But I don't plan to stay at City College. But I do know City College has a strong foundation in jazz. That's what they're mainly for. But for classical, it's not horrible, but it's not that great either. So.
Can I ask everyone, what is the breakdown here? How many people want to go more into like the jazz side of music? Okay, that's 2 people, maybe 3. And what about classical? Just so everyone knows, classical does not have to be, Bach and Vivaldi. Classical can be, there's so much going on right now, even in 20th century techniques, which is, it's really like very different. So I would encourage everyone to explore different eras of classical music before you kind of just write it off. But that said, you have your opinion, you have your opinion. So I assume everyone else maybe is doing like electronic or contemporary, I suppose you can call it.
Anybody interested in going into music education or music therapy?
I actually have a question about the classical. Do you guys also get involved with film scoring in terms of that?
You don't, in Queens College, it's kind of like yes and no. In Queens College, I know that there's like a graduate thing that you can do, and also as an undergraduate, you can take composition courses and work with a composition teacher. But personally, I think that it's something that you kind of need to do, not on your own per se, but you need to kind of just like step into it on your own at the very beginning of your. I don't mean in the beginning. I just mean like in the middle of your studies as an undergrad. Because once you get into the graduate program, which does have a film section, you would be much more prepared for all the composition techniques. Because personally, what I realized, I didn't know this when I was coming in, but what I realized is that composition isn't something you just decide to do one day, It's something, it's like a skill that you need to work on step by step by step. And, start small, learn your theory, learn your counterpoint. I can't stress that enough. Counterpoint is like God or heaven for composition. It is composition, okay? You learn that and you will slowly begin to step into composition. And then you can go into film and whatever you want. The composer, this is a weird one, he's a Georgian composer, one of my favorites, and it slips my head now. But he said, his quote was that a film composition is kind of like a second conservatory for composers, because there's so much discipline and technique that goes into it, because you're not just freely composing, you're within a tight spot, So my suggestion is start composing right as soon as you can, and then kind of step into it.
Does the film section of Queens College, do they take and record their, let's say, their pieces with the orchestra that they do?
I don't know for sure, unfortunately. I know that they do have
They usually don't.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I know that personally, but before I went to Queensborough, I went to Hunter for a few years, and I had to take a few years off for personal reasons. But I know Hunter, when I started there, there's a film major, and there were students who approached me to compose music for them, and I did compose music for a short film for one of them. So if you want to do that, Hunter might be a good option. I know Hunter's music program is not bad. I didn't take advantage of any of their theory or major classes. I really took advantage of their performance classes at the time that I was there. But Queens College, I'll tell you what. If you want to get into film composition, learn how to compose just regular pieces. Learn different styles and learn how to compose and study the theory behind those styles. Because I take composition classes privately, and my professor said film composition is a whole new animal. It's completely different. There are colleges that major in film composition, but those colleges are really for as graduate, colleges. So you want to learn your basics first. Go to undergrad for something jazz performance, and learn composition theory, the jazz theory or classical theory, and then you want to move on for your next school.
You mentioned performance. Can we talk a little bit about what you all did in terms of performance, either performing or composing? What type and how much performing do you do in school, out of school?
Sure. I'm in two ensembles right now. I'm in the major wind ensemble at Queens College, and the saxophone ensemble. My main instrument is saxophone. And each ensemble performs once or twice each semester, usually in the middle and the end. And we perform in Left Right Hall, which is a wonderfully acoustic hall. It's stunning. It's stunning. It has a monstrous organ, and wonderful stage, wonderful seating. So I perform twice each semester. Outside, I don't really perform because the major is, I'm taking 10 classes right now. I'm taking 22 credits. And it is extremely challenging. I'm doing wonderfully in all my classes, and every semester I do wonderfully, but it is challenging. So I don't really have so much time to put into performing outside. But I do have, a ton of classmates that have gigs on the weekends. They could fit it in. You could definitely fit it in. I work in a restaurant, to support myself. But I know I have a lot of friends who play gigs on the weekends, and sometimes during the week, and they do it. In jazz, in classical, any type of genre that they like. They have rock bands that they perform. But as long as they're learning their basics, their theory and everything, and how to perform, and to get really good at their technique and their skills during their classes during the week, and then they utilize those skills and techniques to the style of music that they like to perform, and they do that outside of college.
Yeah. I perform in school at least once. It's really at the end of the semester. I'm in a instrumental ensemble. It's supposed to be closely related with chamber music, but it's not. But I perform, we prepare a whole bunch of pieces during the semester, and at the end, a teacher will give a student a recital. And outside of school, my piano teacher actually teaches me at Kaufman Center, which is at 67th Street, and I perform there too. Sometimes it's usually somewhere in between the semester or at the end of the semester. And I was told, I do want to try to perform as much as possible. It's mainly because you get this feeling and experience out of it, and it looks like for first time performers, I mean, they'll feel extremely nervous, but the more you do it, kind of tension and stress eventually starts to like subside, like go away, and yeah. So that's what I'm looking for performance.
Well, like Timothy, I play piano and I study piano, perform piano. But I should mention that I think that it's best that you find what it is that you want to do exactly in music and focus on that, because it will do you good in the long run. I would say performance and composition are almost separate, depending on what your history is. If you've been playing for a long, long time, well, maybe you'll be able to pull it off. But if you want to perform at a high level and compose at a high level, it would be difficult, especially going through the education process, because there are different classes for performance, different classes for composition or theory, if you will. My experience is like that. I think that I never really went out and performed a lot, but I did pretend that I was a performer in terms of how I practiced, how I set goals for myself, and what pieces I learned. And I can say that that was a huge benefit, because I was able to expand my technique, and thus that helped my own composition and theory skills, a lot. What Timothy said is very true. If you do want to perform and you like performing, the best way to do it is just keep doing it. Go out there. Some people do it on the subway, some people do it in Central Park. Whatever your thing is, go out and just play in front of people, because it will feel weird at first. You're gonna, it's gonna be like, what am I doing here? I feel like that every other girl on the street, playing the song. But you're going to realize later on that what a great experience it is to share music with other people, even if they don't stop exactly look at you. And plus, you're going to get better. You keep trying, you keep working at your craft, you're going to get better, and you are going to start gaining people's attention. And that's when the rewards really, really start to come in. You're going to feel really, really good about that. It depends on the music, really, because I did classical music, and I also pay attention to piano. You can compose and play at the same time. It's just up to you what you want to do.
You guys
Exactly.
have engineering also, or music engineering?
Me personally, no, but you can do that. They do have classes there, and I think they have a graduate program.
They for undergrad. If you could work. They don't really have undergrad engineering for like musical engineering, but you can work for the staging. The staging manager, and learn from him. It's not class, but the best way to learn about something besides taking classes is to learn from someone who has experience. And that guy's Justin Chicarico. He's an undergrad, but he's the stage manager, and he knows a lot about that stuff. But as for classes at Queen's College, it's not really anything.
Okay.
I think I don't know much detail about that field, but like sign art program. I don't think that's very hard yet.
Sorry, George. What's really, really cool about Queen's College that should not go unsaid? Queen's College also has a very prominent theater program, and the music department and the theater department are in some ways linked and very much aligned, in sync with each other. And if you kind of start to make the right friends and go out to the department, reach out, get involved with plays and all that stuff, you may just find yourself doing a lot of production or even theater composition and that would likely involve more of the electrical or like the electronic or engineering aspect of things. I know that they put on operas and they put on musicals, and
they have performances every single week, several times at least. So
there's a lot of that if you kind of get combined with the competence.
Yeah, but also as I was telling you, that's the name Sonic Arts.
Yeah.
At
Yeah,
City
yeah,
College,
City College.
it's an intense. My friend graduated from there. It's really for production, but my friend learns about engineering, and they have. I recorded there with an ensemble that I had, a small ensemble, and it's an intense program. It's really designed. They say it's a 2-year program, but it's an intense 3-year program. And he, as I said, my friend, he owns a studio now. He does a lot of production work. You know, he does that full time. So that might be, if you're interested in that, that might be good. I don't really know a lot about it, but that might be good for you.
Are there dual majors in these?
I mean, you could do double majors in any college, but it depends on if you have enough time in your schedule. Because to be a double major at Queen's College is kind of impossible. It is, as I said,
The music program.
Yeah, the music program. I had a buddy who was doing music education and chemistry, and he eventually dropped chemistry, and he's just concentrating on music education because I'm taking 10 classes. I go to school for like 25 to 30 hours a week. Besides practicing, and I practice several hours a day. It's, you know, and that's on my main instrument. I have other instruments to practice, so it's, you know, it's a lot of work, and I'm not trying to trying to scare you, but it really does, you know, if you're really passionate about something in music, whether it's engineering or performing or education, and you put in the time, you'll notice that you get so much better each semester. And Queen's College and City College, I do know that, you know, they're great schools for those fields.
By the way, this reminded me of a very, very good thing that I wanted to mention to everyone. Something I didn't know, and that is about the CUNY major. I think that's what it's called. And that's a really, really cool thing if that's something that you're interested in. Because what it is it's a major that you kind of put together yourself. Okay, you first have to get accepted into the program, but once you get accepted in the program, you are able to kind of create your own major with your own classes. That means you don't have to take just classes in Queen's College, just music classes in Queen's College. You can be a music major and take some jazz courses in City College, go to Brooklyn College for engineering, go to Queen's College for some history, and you can go all around the CUNY system, and you can get like the best of everything, you know? And it's really, really flexible in that sense. If you don't really want to commit yourself 100% to like classical music, which is, you know, I have to say Queen's College really focuses on that. This gives you opportunities to get the best out of Queen's College because they have a phenomenal theory program. I mean, it's tough. It's difficult. I'm not gonna lie to you. George's not gonna lie to you. But if you put in the effort, you're gonna be like, wow. You know, it's really, really opens your eyes to how music is structured, how it works.
How do you get to do the CUNY major?
I don't know it specifically, but there is for sure you can pick it up and there's a website dedicated to it. I do know that you need to have a certain GPA for it, and you need to have I think 2 letters of recommendation for acceptance. But it's just something that everyone should know because it's a really cool program.
You can find the information on CUNY, the main CUNY website.
Oh, so they have it there.
Yeah.
Also the whole point of college is not necessarily to take classes and learn, you know, within your class, but it's also, you know, a giant mentoring program. So even if you're in you know, the music program and you're interested in engineering, you go to the engineering department and you know, speak to professors and have them become your mentors, and go to them with questions, and maybe you could sit in to some of the sessions, some of the classes, you know, or just privately. And you know, I take private lessons for composition with one of my old professors. I take private private lessons because I'm interested in getting very good in cello now. Even though I'm taking it, I only have 1 semester, but I want to get really good at it. So you know, I you know, spend a little bit extra time because I'm interested in this stuff, and I'm learning from people who are extremely good. So mentoring programs, you know, just learning from the best. That'll help you.
That sounds a lot like what you're talking about, how you got into film composition.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about where you've gone with
Well,
that?
I should say something about that actually. One of the reasons why I gained an interest in film and film compositions because I personally, my favorite era of music is romantic. There's a romantic era or early 20th century, and let me give you a couple of composers that I really like. You know, Chopin, Brahms, Tchaikovsky, Debussy, Ravel, Stravinsky. I'm also a fan of Rachmaninoff. It's kind of that whole era that I really enjoy, and to me, that music is very powerful. It's very moving, and I should be honest with everyone here. That music is not as prominent today as it was then in the classical concert world. Now, it is prominent in another medium, film. So if you film composition, you can do all sorts of things like you know, a lot of the techniques, the music techniques that were used in the late 19th century, early 20th century, are used in film composition today. Not exclusively. You can actually, there's a lot of electronic aspects that go into it. You know, it just depends on what the movie is. You know, what director you're working with, essentially. But it gives you, if you're into like tonal music, and it's kind of hard to describe what tonal music is without explaining what atonal music is. Atonal music is
Maybe you can talk about how did you get into studying with the person that you're studying? Was this outside of your degree?
I study with a piano teacher as a private basis.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I studied film by myself, just you know, working with you know, getting contacts. My teacher knows it. The best piece of advice that I can offer, if you're going to go into contemporary music or film composition, anything like that, is to get involved. Get involved outside the medium, because you want to start making, you know, friends who have similar tastes, similar aspirations to you. Talk to your professors. A lot of the professors I know at Queen's College are very helpful. They're out there to really help you become a better musician. And they will help if they see that you're dedicated. They will pave the way. They'll give you some of their contacts. And the best way to really gain ground in that field is to network, and perhaps I would say maybe start get an internship. Okay, that may do you well, because the reality of it is, in my opinion, is that if you just go through a regular degree program, it may not be enough. Okay, you want to have that extracurricular activity on the side. Okay, so make sure you keep that in mind and start that early, because it's gonna do you well later on, especially for grad school or for a career that you'd like to step into as soon as you graduate.
I want to talk. I guess my last sort of big question is about what would you, if you had to tell somebody who's planning on transferring, what would you tell them in terms of how they can prepare themselves, what you kind of wish you had known in terms of getting ready to transfer, courses they could have taken, or performance experience, things like this?
Yeah, what you guys really, I would feel like you really should know is really a strong foundation in your theory and your history. And because those two, I feel like, is really what makes a musician, other than just playing the instrument itself. You should actually know this well, actually, and because it'll prepare you for the next level. And yeah, I mean, I think that's really good. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely have a good foundation in theory. Another 3-4 semesters of theory here, or something like that. Definitely, take advantage of them. Practice the instrument that you play, and if you don't play an instrument, if you're into music production, know your Pro Tools, know your Reason, know the hookups, know how, just know everything about that. Stay in touch with what's going on, the new updates that are coming out in those programs, and definitely, if you're interested in it, get a lot of background information on everything that you're interested in, so that when you do go into a college, you have a lot of questions. You want to ask your professors about these questions because they all know about this stuff. Professor Jackson, he knows everything about this stuff. Go to him with questions, and definitely for future professors, that you have, ask questions about it because they'll help you out. And you know what? Even if you know exactly what you want to do right now, I'm definitely going to go into music production. That's it. I'm going to be the best music producer ever. And then you go to a college, and a semester later, you're like, oh, I kind of want to go into film composition. You want to keep your options open, and these these classes that they make you take to become a well-rounded musician, they really help you direct yourself. So I wanted to when I went to this school, I was purely jazz. I played classical piano, but I was really concentrating on jazz. And then when I went to community college, I played a lot more piano, and I learned a lot of new techniques in jazz on piano also. But I learned classical saxophone, and these classes are incredible. They really help you direct yourself. So have a lot of know your interests and have a lot of questions, and get really good at theory and history. Whether it's classical history, jazz history, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You want to add anything to that?
Well, actually, I just want to say that when I changed my major to music, I know I'll be doing music for pretty much my whole entire life. And the thing with as a classical pianist, that's what I do, is it's really competitive. Because I don't, the only way I feel like I can get better is really competing with other people. You don't need to do this. Everyone has their own different opinion. And I feel like I try comparing myself to people that has been playing music ever since they were young. It's like people in my school or Juilliard. I feel like I know I'm not anywhere near them because even my piano teacher kind of puts me at a lower level than what most people think I am. And I'm just saying it's really competitive. And yeah, it's also become stressful.
Do you feel like that competition in the program that you're in has been good, like pushed you in a good way, or is it the opposite?
It has to. Well, to me, it has to be a good way because that's the only way I get better at it. And if I some friends I know who I feel like are better than I am, I know I want to be better than they are, especially at this certain instrument. And that to me, that's one of the ways I know you get better. But you need to have some type of motivational too, because sometimes I'll sit down at the piano and I'll be so just blanked out, and I feel so bored, and I don't feel like pushing forward. But if you have something that really you want to go for, to me, it's really just being better than other people. So,
Everybody has their motivation.
Yeah. Timothy touches up on a good point, and I think all three of us can agree on this, that the best thing you can do for yourself is not to take your situation or the school for granted. I know it sounds funny saying this, in the class or in school, but don't take it for granted. Go out and take the initiative and be proactive yourself. Go, attend gigs. Go. Maybe if you like contemporary music, if you like production, maybe form a band. Are you more of a producer? Go get people together, ground people together. Just go out and do stuff. Don't. I would not suggest that you expect to kind of finish all your classes and then suddenly start music. It's one of those fields where you just have to kind of keep it up yourself. You have to kind of you have to fuel yourself for what you're doing. Okay, even if it's teaching, even if it's performing, composition, whatever it is, be proactive. If you're really, I know many of you are also interested in doing production or contemporary styles. I would personally suggest that you would probably try to get an internship somewhere for a record company. you'll be surprised what kind of context you will get. And believe me, you may get coffee at first. You may do some small work at first, but you keep working hard. If you do get that coffee the best way. Just be like the bomb at getting the coffee. You know what I mean? And then bring it to them, and then they will notice that. They'll see that you're working hard, and you'll be surprised. You'll get connections. People will teach you some of the things that you have never heard before. You get trade secrets, and before you know it, you'll be producing some guy who's on the radio, and at the same time, you can supplement that experience with school by learning the fundamentals, how to analyze things, how to theory, performing technique, all pool it all together and work and use any tool that you have, at your disposal, and that's going to give you the edge, because Timothy's right. Music is a very competitive environment, very competitive industry. Okay, and the best way to do it, maybe not the simplest way, but maybe not the easiest way, is to just be the best. To be the best, you have to set up a schedule for yourself. Work on it every single day. Be on your craft every single day.
Do these schools, they offer like introductory classes to these things like film?
Oh yeah, and you know what? Most of those introductory classes are, required in your I don't know if they call them that class.
Yeah,
PLAS, they used to be known as laser. In your PLAS requirements, a lot of those, you have to take a bunch of introductory classes.
Even Queens College, which tends to be more classically oriented. Last summer they had like some really cool classes on like rock history, and what else did they have? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, they have on jazz history. They have on special classes that delve with specific composers. They have something. What's it called? They have like this percussion class. Forgot what region it's from. It's from like the Pacific region, a specific percussion class. It's out of this world. I plan on taking that next semester as an elective because it's a lot of fun. It's a group percussion class. So yeah, even if they're not required, you have electives. You have to fill up your electives. And even so, do you go to college just to get a degree, or do you go to college, to learn? So you could just take as many classes as you want. You have to pay for it, but you take these classes and get just an insane amount of information. I took classes outside of my major because I felt like taking it, because I was interested in it, and it did me well.
There's a bit of a secret in Queens College, although we just kept saying it, and a lot of the information that's out there agrees with the fact that Queens College is aimed at classical music, in its undergraduate level. But you should know that there is almost like a hidden view of jazz going on. First of all, their graduate jazz program is ridiculous. Okay, they have some of the most amazing jazz players in the region, I think. And there's a lot of that going on. You walk during the halls during the evening time, or even during the daytime sometimes, and you will hear people playing jazz. You will hear people playing, you know what I mean? Like you will hear that. It will be like, wow, there's jazz all around. And as an undergrad, you're gonna be like, wait, why can't I take any jazz classes? Well, there is a reason for that, okay? And something to consider, just in case you're really bent on doing jazz. And the reason is my personal belief is that if you want to become a really good, accomplished musician, even in jazz especially, you gotta know your classical. Duke Ellington knew his classical. He was a huge Bach fan. Louis Armstrong. A lot of these jazz greats were secret, classical musicians. You just didn't know it because when they went on stage, they performed jazz. There's a lot of things that you can take away from classical theory and apply it to jazz.
Even Wynton Marsalis, who's the most famous trumpet player alive, he plays Bach. What do they call it?
well-tempered kind of
Probably no, but he plays. He either plays like fugues or cantatas. He plays them so perfectly. It's unbelievable. He learned classical before he learned jazz. You know, and if you're interested in like producing hip hop, what's a precursor to hip hop? It's jazz. So if you learn jazz and get really good at it, you're going to be an amazing, you know, hip hop producer. You know, as long as you learn your basics, and the basics are jazz and classical. And you know, knowing the history, knowing the theory behind it, taking these courses, playing it, being in ensembles, playing with your friends. You know, college is definitely a good resource to play and perform with your friends. So definitely take advantage of that.
You know, consider the following situation. You're after many years of work, getting coffee, like I said before. You're finally in a studio with like your idol, you know, and his manager is like, listen, I want you. He says to you, I want you to produce, you know, his next new song, you know. And you know, this is not classical. This is just contemporary music. This is like let's say this is like hip hop or something. You know, I guarantee you, if you spend many years before that, or you know, as much time as you can, learning Bach, learning jazz, learning the fundamentals of music. And the reason I say Bach is don't write the guy off. He's a genius in terms of what he did for theory, how he created the tools that composers these days have to creating music. And when I say composers, I don't mean just like Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff. If you're a hip hop producer, you're a composer in some sense, you know. So I guarantee you know something like that. You learn a couple of his preludes. You just put in your study. You study his work. Come that situation where the manager tells you to produce something, it's going to be so much easier. You'll be like, oh, okay, and you'll come up with an idea right there because you will have that experience of knowing, the theory of analyzing other people's work. There's so much you can take out of it. Don't be afraid to immerse yourself in other fields, even if they don't directly interest you. You know, and I was actually reading about a hip hop artist a couple of months back, and he spent a lot of his youth playing like classical piano. You know, playing a lot of Bach. He's a Bach fan. You know, and I was like, no wonder. You know, so don't dismiss that. I would recommend that.
So related.
Yeah. It is all related, you know, whatever genre you play.
I mean, yeah, if you're looking at any style of music, you know, there's always, you know, you concentrate or your ears pick up the bass line and the melody, right? Bass line and melody, that's counterpoints right there. You get really good at counterpoints, which is, you know, basic, you know, Palestrina, Mozart, Bach, they concentrate, you know, all these greats, they concentrated on counterpoint. And you get really good at that, you create the best bass line and melodies out of any songs. You know, it doesn't matter on any genre that you want to compose for or play or produce. You know, learning your counterpoint, which is which is the classical background, but you know they also stress that in jazz. So definitely take advantage of those theory classes.
Yes, you know, I hope George doesn't mind me saying so, but George actually has quite a bit of electronic experience under his belt. He's composed quite a couple of awesome beats that I think he did. And you know, if you didn't know him like that, you would just know him as George, the guy who plays saxophone in an orchestra in Queens College, and it's like a theory whiz, classical theory whiz. So you know, it really helps. I think you'll agree that you know it's all interrelated.
It gives you options. You know, when you're a musician, you can't just go into you can go into one specific field, but you have to have the edge. You have to be the best to get that position that you want. But you know, if you can't get that position, you know, what are your fallbacks? You know, if I need to play a gig to support myself, you know, and I am a jazz saxophonist and I have gigs, but I don't have gigs for a month lined up. What am I going to do? I'm going to try to get a piano gig. I'm going to try to get teaching privately, or maybe my friend needs me to compose something for his a film short. You know, you have to have options, and you have to be well-rounded, and that's what Queens College does, and City College. They help you become a well-rounded musician, so you can develop. So you have options, and you can get, if not amazing at a lot of different fields, you can get really good at different fields. So that you have options for the future.
Do we have any questions from audience members?
Has anyone ever wondered how to create something, create a song, create a beat from seemingly nothing? And that's something that I wondered when I was kind of a couple years back. And I think I found the answer to it. The answer is find something you really like a song or a beat, whatever it is, find it, put it together, and figure out what makes it tick. You know, break it down till it's on its gears. And just figure out every step of the way, and then take that, apply it to your own piece, and then rearrange it how you want it to sound like. And it's really as simple as that. You don't I found that a lot of people kind of just are afraid to just dive in and make mistakes, but just go for it. Maybe your first thing is going to sound not so great, but you will improve. Just keep throwing yourself out there.
I think we're going to wrap it up here. These guys are going to be available for a few minutes afterwards if you have specific questions about where they're at, or if you just want to talk to them a little bit. We've got also some packets here if anybody is interested.
If anyone has any questions about Queens College and how to enter the placement test, I have a packet that will tell you
Yeah, come on up.
some details
Feel free
on how
to
to work.
So, thank you for coming.